your program. Another nested switch statement is also possible in Java. You can write switch inside switch, inside switch called as a nested switch. Here count is an expression and this is a variable. It is of type integer variable. Here target is another variable. So you can create a switch inside the case 1 and this case 1 is of outer switch. And this is the inner switch and this is the body of an inner switch. Inside this again you can create a case for this inner switch. So here whenever your count match with 1 value, at that time this switch statement again executes. So whenever you need such a logic in your program, you can use this nested switch also in your program. You can try this program, print the month number from month name. That means take one string, month name equals to, say for the example, January, JAN, and use the switch statement, switch, then month name as an expression variable and create a body part of it, and you need to write here case. In case you can use the string, and this is new in Java, case, then case with constant value, this is the string constant, and what you want to print, system.out.println, you want to print month number is 1, right? So this such a way you can create multiple case. Now here you need to use have to use the break statement. Break indicates now you don't want to execute the case which is available after these particular statements. So here you have to use this break statement. That means now I don't want to execute the remaining part available after this break statement. So here break keyword is used inside the switch statement. Such a way you can create this program. Now next is working of a switch loop. If value of the expression is compared with the each of the value in the case statement, if it is match and match found, the code sequence following the case statement is executed. If none of the constants matches the value of the expression, the default statement is executed. Default statement is optional. If no case matches, then no default is present, then no further action is taken. That means you will not get any output in that case. The break statement is used inside the switch to terminate a statement sequence which is available after the break statement. When a break statement is encountered, execution branches to the first line of the code that follows the entire switch statement, and this has the effect of jumping outside of the switch statement. So this basically break is used to jump outside of the switch statement, right? Now iteration, that means if you want to repeat some code of your program, if you want to repeat some set of instruction, at that time you can use the iteration statements. That these iteration statements always repeatedly execute the same set of instruction until the termination condition match. So two types of loops are available, iteration statements are available, while for these two are the entry control loop. Entry control, that means before executing the body part of the loop, it first check the condition, then and only then it execute the body part. Do while loop, it first executes the loop, then and only then check the condition. So here these two things, two total 3 loop statements are available. While and for are entry control loop, and do while is exit control loop. Now let us talk about the syntax. The syntax of while is condition, then body part of the while loop. This body part execute repeatedly until this condition become false. So here I want to print the 10, 9, 8 up to 1. For that I have used this while loop. I initialize this n value with the 10. Then I'm checking the condition n greater than 10. That means 10 greater than 0. 10 greater than 0. I'm checking this number with greater than 0 value. If this condition becomes true, it always execute the part of the while loop, body part of the while loop, and it again check the condition until the condition become false. It executes the body part, and I am decrementing this n value by 1 in the body part of this loop. So when next iteration comes, it always next iteration it always checks the condition, and whenever it becomes false, it terminates execution of this while loop. So here you will get such an output whenever you execute this program. Now do while loop. In do while loop, we are first the do while loop first execute the body part, then and only then check the condition. Here you must need the semicolon. uh, uh, if I want to print the same output that I have printed inside while loop, then the code for the do while loop is integer initialize with 10, first print it, then decrement it, and then check the condition. So if this condition become false, then this do body part of this do loop do will never execute. So here I am printing first, then decrementing the value of n, then checking the value. Again, it moves your control over here. It prints. That means your decremented value will become a 9. It prints 9. It decrement again. That means n will become 8. Then again you are checking the condition until this condition become false. It executes. Right now, for loop repeats the having for loop the having the syntax. 3 statements you need have to write inside the 4 statement declaration. For then initialization statements, then semicolon, then conditional statements, then semicolon, then increment and decrement, or we can say the iteration statements. It is generally increment and decrement statements. And a body of a for loop. Here, initialization statement executes first, and it initializes loop variables with the decided value. Then it checks the condition. If becomes true, then and only then it executes the body part of the loop. Then after executing body part, it always executes the increment decrement statements of the loop. After incrementing and decrementing, again it checks the condition. If it becomes true, then it executes the body parts. Such that until this condition become false, it always execute increment or decrement, then check the condition. Again execute if condition becomes true. Again increment, decrement, and again check the condition. This initialization statement executes only once for a for loop. This condition statement always executes that to check whether the condition becomes true or false. This increment decrement operator again executes many times after executing the body part once. So here I want to print the same T10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. For that, the loop syntax is integer n equals to 0 and initialize with 0, and greater than 0 it my termination condition, and I want to decrement the value of n, and inside the body part I am going to print the value of n. So here first print 10, then decrement the value 10 by 9, check 9 is greater than 0, condition becomes true, it prints the 9. Again, 9, this decrement statement executes, 9 become 8, and again check 8 greater than 0 becomes true. Repeat the body part until whenever it becomes this 9 value become 0, 0 greater than 0 is a false condition, and your loop terminate the execution and you will get such an output. Here, if you have the multiple statement of initialization, multiple conditions, and multiple increment decrement statement, at that time you can use the commas, only single comma in between the multiple statements of initialization. Say for the example, integer a equals to 5 comma b equals to 10, I equals to 5 comma j equals to 0. Such a statement you can use. Same here also you can use multiple statement by using the commas. Now let us talk about the for each loop. This is the shortest version of for loop which is available to iterate the arrays and collection in Java. It is the shortest syntax of for loop and it is available in Java. It was not available in C. So you must understand this for each loop. It is very easy to use the simple for loop because we do not need increment and decrement value statements, uh, such as statements in our execution of array. Here is the syntax of here it is a syntax of for each loop. Here for is a keyword, then colon you have to use, after colon you have to use the array variable name, and before colon you have to write the type of the array and type of the elements available in array. That means array, this array having which type of elements. If it is integer, then you have to write here int, then new variable name, and you can use this new variable name inside the body part of the for each loop. It works on the elements basis, not in basis of index, and it returns the element one by one in the defined variables. This defined variable you will get this elements available in array one by one in this element variable. This is called the element variable, and you can use this element variable inside the body part of this for loop. See here, it is the example, and this for each syntax is basically designed to iterate the array, traverse the array, and to traverse the collection. Collection is a basic concept, and it is a very long concept in Java. It is having many classes. So whenever I will cover collection, at that time I will repeat this for each loop again also to iterate the collection elements. Here I have declared one array. This ARR is my array variable and it is of type integer array. It is having this many elements. So you can write such a for each syntax like this. For, then before colon you have to write the number types of elements available in this array. This all are the integer type of variables. So int, the new variable name. Here I have used I. This I is a elements variable which will store the value 12 first. Then when in second iteration it automatically store value 23. In third iteration it automatically stores value 4. In fourth iteration it automatically stores value 56. In fifth iteration it automatically stores value 78. So such that this variable will work inside the only and only this for loop, because it is a local variable of this for each loop. After this colon you have to use the actual variable name on which you want to traverse for all the elements. The difference between this for loop and for each loop is only and only here you don't need any indexing statement, and this for loop you can start from any index, you can start from reverse order also. Here for each loop always starts from 0 and it iterates up to length element. Here you cannot iterate only before length element, only 2 element, only 3 element. This thing is not possible. It always iterate for all the elements. Only odd elements, only even elements. That such a for each loop you cannot create by using for each syntax. So here iteration always from 0 to up to length element, right? That means all elements. Okay, now next is jump statements. Break, continue and return. These three are the keywords that provides the jump statements in Java. Break terminates the current loop, continue terminates the iteration, current iteration, and continue loop with the next iteration. And return statement basically used inside the function that returns from the method or returns from the function. This return statement we will cover when I will teach you the functions and methods in Java. Now let us talk about the break statement. Break is a statement that you can use with the condition and inside the for loop or inside any loop. While loop, for loop, do while loop, and switch statement we have already used. Here the program of break, sorry, it is a program of break, not a program of it is a program of break, not to continue, right? So here this is one array and I have used the for each statement, these numbers, and I am fetching all the numbers in this x variable. If this x is 5, then I want to stop the execution of summation of elements. That means I want only summation of first 5 elements. So you can create such a program, sum all the variables. If this x equals to 5, then break. Break, that means now this 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 will never fetch inside this x variable. So it breaks and it pulls the control outside of this for loop. That means your control will come over here and you will get such an output because you are going to print value of x is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then 5 prints, then make a sum of that all the elements, and then you are breaking the statements. That means after printing the 5, it never execute the for loop, and such that you can get this thing. Now next is continue statement. Continue statement skip current iteration and start with the next iteration. Here I want to skip only number 5 only, and I want to sum all the elements which are not 5. For that I have used for each loop, and here this if condition, if this x equals to 5, then continue. That means skip the remaining part of the for each loop and go for the next iteration, and the next iteration starts from 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I am first checking and writing the continue statement. That means this 5 will never print, and you will get such an output like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, then 5, skip 7, 8, 9, 10, and you are just getting the sum of this many elements. That means this sum will become the 50 in this program. Now all the basic concepts of Java is over. You have to try this all the programs with yourself and try to write the syntax without using any editor, so that you can get the remember the syntax of Java. So please try this all the programs with yourself. This is based on the operators, loops. It is not more than that concept. You have to just use the operators, variables, data types, and loops, that the topics that I have already covered in my previous videos. So please try this all the programs with yourself. And I'm going to end this session. Thank you all of you.